ways to manifest what we desire in our lives, and some of it is based on science, and some of it is more metaphysical or woo. So today let's talk about the science of manifesting. The Buddha said that what we think and ponder upon becomes the inclination of the mind. Now, what he could have said, if he'd had the scientific basis to know this, is that neurons that fire together wire together. Let me explain. Neurons are nerves anywhere in the nervous system, but today we're specifically talking about the neurons in the brain cells. You have a neuron over here, you have a neuron over here. There's a space between them called a synapse. They want to communicate across this space. What do? They fire an electrical signal. Our brains are biochemical electric. Did you know that? That's so cool. So in order to do that, they have these little things that come off of them called dendrites. So you have the neuron, part of the neuron is the dendrites. And this little gap is where the electrical signals pass. That's called firing. The neurons fire when they send off an electrical impulse. So this one over here says, hey, we're playing the piano, zaps it over to here. Oh yeah, we're playing the piano, zaps it to the next one in line. And the more often that we play the piano, then what happens is the little neurons, they're pretty clever, and they say, we're spending a lot of energy firing off this electrical signal. Let's make it easy on ourselves. So the dendrites start to grow closer together, and they grow new ones. So there's more dendrites, and they're closer together. So now the gap, instead of being like this, is like this. They never quite touch, but they close this gap, which means it's a lot faster to pass the electrical signal between the neurons. And this is why when you practice the piano, it gets easier and easier. This is why when you start to tell yourself that you're good with money, you start to believe the fact that you are good with money, and you in fact become good with money. It's also the reason why if you engage in negative self-talk and you say, I suck at meditation, I can't visualize, I can't do it, that then also becomes the inclination of your mind. So that's part of the science behind manifesting. We can literally talk ourselves into things, even things that we might not believe in the beginning. We can change our belief system around that. And then we begin to bring that into our lives simply by this being the inclination of the mind. So that's the first part of the science of manifesting. It's pretty cool stuff, I think. So neurons that fire together, wire together is the takeaway. For good or for bad. And, I hate to use moralistic terms like that. So more skillful things or less skillful things, either one can become the inclination of the mind. How long does it take? Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. How long does it take before the little neurons say, this is a lot of work, let's grow together and sprout some more dendrites? 15 to 20 seconds. That's powerful knowledge to have, because that means you can spend 15 to 20 seconds rewiring your brain. That doesn't mean you should only practice piano 15 to 20 seconds at a time, sorry, but there's more going on than just the rewiring of the brain on that one. But when we're talking about eliminating negative self-talk, turning that into something positive, for example, going from I suck at this to I'm open to a new reality of meditation. It's not denying that you've had past difficulties meditating. I'm just using this as an example. But instead of denying that we've had past difficulties meditating and saying, oh, I'm great at meditating, because then you might not believe it. And it will work, but it will take longer. You can tell yourself, I'm open to a new experience with meditation. Let's see what happens today. I'm better at meditating today than I was yesterday. Every time I meditate, my mind settles more quickly. So these are different thoughts, beliefs that you can have. You may recognize these as affirmations, and we'll talk about those at some point in the future. But these new thoughts then begin to rewire your brain. Your brain is rewiring itself all the time based on the inputs that are coming in through the sense doors, eyes, ears, etc. The only question is, are you consciously rewiring your brain with intention, or are you just letting it occur randomly? Memories come up of things that people said to us when we were young or in our childhood. Oh, you're terrible. Girls aren't good at math. Ooh, that's a big one that we women in the U.S. anyway hear all of our lives. Girls aren't good at math. You're not supposed to be good at math. What? What? Tell that to Marie Curie. Anyway, Ada Lovelace. Anyway, but we hear that and we internalize it. And unless we recognize the fact that that's going on and we say, I reject that thought. Women are good at math. Girls are good at math. I am good at math. Unless we start that rewiring process, then we're stuck in the old unconscious pattern. And this is part of manifesting. This is manifesting a new ability, a new talent, a new technique, a new way of thinking and being in the world. Right? Most of the things that we try to manifest are to help us ultimately be happy. If I manifest a new job, I manifest a new car, it's to fill some perceived need toward happiness. So how can I be happier? Well, I can skip all the stuff. It's fine to acquire the stuff. There's nothing wrong with stuff. Stuff is morally neutral. But we can skip the acquisition of stuff and go straight into rewiring our brains for happiness. Neuroscientist Rick Hansen has a practice he calls taking in the good. When you are enjoying something, really soak that in for 15 or 20 seconds. Maybe it's a sunset. Maybe it's the greeting that your dog gives you when you first come home. Instead of being busy putting your keys down, doing all the things you do when you walk in the door, just stop and play with the dog for 15 or 20 seconds and enjoy that love. And then guess what? The neurons, the dendrites, they grow closer together, they sprout more, and the little gap becomes less, and the electrical signals are more efficient, and it becomes easier for you to slip into that feeling of joy that you had when either watching the sunset or playing with the dog. So that's the core of the science of manifesting. So I hope that you are able to begin to use that to manifest more joy in your life this week.